This is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens and Peg McNichol on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to the WHTC Morning News for this Tuesday, July the 20th. Tuesday mornings, we have a chance to find out what's going on in Washington with one of the two men who represent the Lakeshore in the U.S. House. He is Representative Fred Upton, joining us from his office in D.C. via the Zoom connection. Fred, good morning. Hope all is well with you and the family.
All is well. I got to see my grandson on a little FaceTime yesterday, and so everything's good.
Excellent. Keeps perspective on all the things that are going on. Plenty of things to talk about. I want to talk about first, before we do anything else, this afternoon you'll be testifying before a select committee on modernization of Congress on enhancing committee productivity. As the former chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, you do bring a little perspective to that situation.
Well, we're going to try. When I became chairman, I changed a number of the rules. Some people objected to it, but my successors have kept them, which I guess is a good thing. We limited opening statement by members of Congress. After all, it's not for us to extol and extol and extol. It's our job to listen and ask questions, particularly when we have witnesses. I instituted some changes, really incentivizing bipartisanship. That is, that when you had an amendment that was offered by a Republican and a Democrat, when it was bipartisan, that would go ahead of the queue. It would be debated and voted on ahead of everything else, so it wouldn't get lost in the shuffle, and hopefully improve a bill, as we did a lot of times when I was chairman. But we're also going to focus. I'm going to be testifying with Diana DeGette. She was my partner on 21st Century Cures. I'm her partner now as we look at 2.0 to revise that and update it, and we expect to see legislation move this fall. But it really is talking about bipartisanship, how we could take a bill, and I got it actually behind me here. It was H.R. 6, 53-0 out of committee, and it was easily the most significant thing that happened in that Congress. And frankly, we wouldn't have had a cure or a vaccine for COVID until months later, had we not been able to get that bill through, let alone the additional funds for health research through the NIH.
Speaking about the COVID-19 situation, Fred, we're seeing that there are some fears from some health experts that we might be seeing another wave beginning, the Delta variant, the one out of India coming across. We've had cases increase across the country. Concerns about COVID certainly on the minds of those who are heading for the Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo later this week. And certainly a lot of the problems in this area has been because people who have been coming down, for the most part, have not been vaccinated. And yet we still also have those who have been vaccinated still coming down with the disease.
Well, that's right. You know, they never said it was 100% effective. And it was designed, of course, these drugs, the vaccines were designed before we knew about variants. Remember, this thing happened in fall of 2020. And here we are now, almost 2 years later. So that's why we need to continue research, continue to look at these variants. But I'll tell you what's troubling. Over 99% of the folks who died last month of COVID had not been vaccinated. I look at our counties in the district that I represent. I look at our state. Every state in the union has got an increase now in COVID over the last couple weeks. The percentage of folks fully vaccinated in a good number of counties in Michigan is under 50%. There's no excuse for that. In fact, I saw a report just this last week that Michigan may be seeing thousands of expired vaccines that because we've got more vaccines than people are looking to seek, and they're going to have to be destroyed. They're going to have to be eliminated. We had a discussion about that with some of my colleagues just this last night. But the other issue is we don't really have a full test, I don't think, for this new variant. I know a number of folks. I talked to an individual last week actually yesterday, but he got probably this variant, but he doesn't actually know. So the testing for the variant is unclear, but it's apparent that in fact the variant is probably the biggest reason for this surge in COVID cases across the country, and it's up to us to really promote vaccines and getting people through that line. They're free. They've got plenty of supply everywhere, particularly here in Michigan, and we need to roll up our sleeves and get it done.
The bipartisan infrastructure deal, it looks as if the Democrats might try to ram their own deal through. There's talk that efforts in the Senate might be bogged down. Where are we standing right now with this deal?
Well, we got a number of meetings this morning, and so I can tell you a little bit more maybe tomorrow. But it appears as though the bipartisan plan, something that the Problem Solvers Caucus really promoted and worked with the Senate, it's not quite done. And Senator Schumer is requiring a vote tomorrow on cloture on a bill that nobody's read because it's not done. So to me, it would be better to delay it a little bit. Let's get the details done so people can see what they're actually voting on. But it appears as though they're not going to get the 60 votes, which really clouds the whole picture. And unfortunately, as we look at this whole infrastructure package, and we said from the beginning it was going to dominate the July session for sure, the bipartisan plan, if it doesn't get 60 votes, then they're going to try to push for, I'll call it the Biden plan, which is 3 times more expensive. And who knows how they're going to pay for it. I mean, it's fraught with danger, and it's very unclear how this thing is going to unfold, particularly if the bipartisan plan, something that certainly I support, goes down, and because it doesn't get the 60 votes over there to start and come over to the House. So we'll find out a little bit more this morning. I know there were late night meetings last night, and they continue today. So this will be the topic of the day. So stay tuned.
We will certainly do that. I heard reports that Peking or Beijing not happy with Japan right now, interfering in what they believe is a one-away province called Taiwan, and threatened to nuke Japan if Japanese interest in Formosa is not what Beijing would like. It ties in with the fact that it's been 100 years since the Chinese communists have formed a party. Of course, they came into power shortly after World War II on the mainland, forcing Shanghai Shek to flee basically to Formosa, Taiwan. But to a certain extent, the stripes have not changed over the years, have they?
No, they really haven't. And, I saw that same report, and people can find it on Drudge Report, www.drudgereport.com. Very, very disturbing, alarming, more than disturbing, alarming. I had, a conversation with a number of my colleagues last night who had not seen the story. I forwarded it to them, but I think this is the time where unity really makes a difference, where the United States needs its allies to send the message to China that this cannot happen. And the idea that China would nuke Japan if Japan objected to the taking of Taiwan is really outrageous. And the early signal has to be sent so that we never get to that point, hopefully, where China would engage in something like that. So diplomacy, they better be on the front burner right now.
Not only that, but also some of the moves that Beijing has done in terms of Hong Kong certainly has led to the caucus introducing a resolution against the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, we did, and I joined on with that resolution with a good number of my colleagues in a bipartisan effort. It's actually prompted by the Problem Solvers Caucus. But I'll tell you the other thing, the real threatening thing here is, so you look at these different treaties that we have, NATO and et cetera. This without action, without some type of appropriate response, it would undermine all the treaties that we have, and could really be something else in terms of major difficulty. So I hope that the administration saw that report. It's again publicly available. It came out officially from the Chinese government and then withdrawn, but it's still out there, and you can see it on Drudge.
One final thing, Fred Upton, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Biden administration not pleased with a federal judge's ruling basically striking down DACA, and it sort of ties in with the situation in the southern border, the Cuba question as well. We got to deal with things closer to home besides the problems that are going on in China.
Well, we do, and of course, we could spend a lot of time talking about DACA. I'm very supportive of the folks that came here, decades ago, and we need to find some status for them. But I'll go back to something that former President Trump said: Congress, do your job. We have an immigration problem. Yes, we do, and we need to deal with it. And not doing anything doesn't deal with the issue. So let's do it. Let's see if we can't get a DACA solution. Let's see if we can't. Again, for me, the Biden administration has dropped the ball on a lot of this immigration stuff at the border, particularly with the asylum changes that they made. I thought it was a major mistake. But Congress, do your job. Let's figure this out. Let's have a system that works. And it's about time that happens. We passed a couple bills. We passed a DACA bill that I supported in the Congress a few months ago. Senate has taken no action on it. That's simply not acceptable. And this federal judge's ruling was, quite frankly, not unexpected. Nobody's got the authority to continue this thing without legislative proposal. So let's get it done. Let's pass a bill, hopefully a bipartisan one, to deal with the issue. So this just turns on the burner a little bit hotter on that front burner, but by golly, we better get something done.
He is Fred Upton. He joins us Tuesday mornings to talk about things going on in Washington. Congressman, thank you very much, as always, for your thoughts and your observations. And if all goes well, let's do this again next Tuesday morning.
I look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Fred Upton, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.